Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire. Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire.
Yes, good day and welcome to the newspaper review, and this is Friday. Yes, thank God it's Friday. Today is Friday and it's a great way to start the weekend. Yes, it's time for you to remain positive, change your mindset from whatever it is that you have been going through within the week. And this Friday, a time for you to relax and tell God, yes, thank you that you brought me this far. Yes, before I talk too much, I am your host, Mother Dominic, and together with me is...
Good morning, viewers. My name is Ola Oladipo.
Okay, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the quote for the day and also take a look at the news making headlines around the globe. Please stay tuned.
Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire. Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire.
Yes, welcome back from that break. This is the newspaper review, but first we'll have to take a look at the quote that we have for the day. And this says, we're taking this from the book of Ephesians 3 verse 16. This says, I pray that from his glorious unlimited resource, he will give you mighty inner strength through his Holy Spirit. I'll take that again from the book of Ephesians 3:16. It says, I pray that from his glorious unlimited resource, he will give you mighty inner strength through his Holy Spirit. This is my prayer for you, that through the glorious grace and unlimited grace of the Most High, that he will give you the strength that you need to carry through this month, the end of this month and beyond. The year is gradually running to an end, and it's time for us to pray that God give us the strength that we need. Give us the ultimate strength that comes from you to carry on this journey. And this strength will not just come if you do not ask, and it will come through the Holy Spirit, the Bible says. And I pray that the Lord gives us all the strength that we need to carry through this period, in Jesus' name. Amen. So let's take a look at the quote that we have. Okay, so that's the quote that we have for today. So let's take a look at the newspaper review. First, we'll be starting with the Punch newspaper. Okay, so the first story that we have says, reps relocate 5 billion naira yacht vote, Navy clears Tinubu. Senate okays 17.5 billion naira yacht air fleet. Reps approve 546 billion naira defense budget. The National Assembly on Thursday approved the 2.18 trillion 2023 supplementary appropriation bills, forwarded it to consideration by the President Bola Tinubu. Okay, while the Senate approved the 5.5 billion naira proposed for a presidential yacht in the budget, the House of Representatives cancelled the allocation and added it to the student loan, increasing the budget for the scheme to 10 billion naira, up from the initial 5.5 billion naira. Although the harmonized budget report presented by the chairman of the Senate Committee of Appropriation, Solomon Adeola Ogun West, was jointly signed by himself and the chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation, Abubakar Bichi, the House refused to adopt the 5 billion naira yacht allocation. Speaking on the House refusal to approve the planned purchase of the boat, Bichi stated, "As far as we are concerned, we don't need that anymore. We have increased the student loan." Okay, so if we also recall, we'll see that the student loan was 5 billion naira in the budget, but now we have increased it to 5 billion naira, from 5 billion naira back to say to 10 billion naira. So that our students will be able to access the facility in order for them to be able to go to school and be able to afford them. Okay, so that's the first story that we have, and I think I would go with the Senate for making this, because this is actually a good one. In a country where you are advising the masses to be able to adjust to the current situation that we are currently facing in Nigeria, I think they also need to lead by example, also adjusting to the situation of things. We don't need fancy things right now. This is not the time for it. You have the necessary. In fact, I was also expecting them to also look into the other budgets that that the president requested for, like the wife, the first lady, also having what's that car again that they mentioned, and I'm like, okay, what exactly does she need that for? We already have this together, we already have other things, so why are we focusing on that? So I thought, for me, I think that they also did that to make sure, let's not just overrule everything that the president has requested for. So going further, Engineer Ola, what's your take on this?
Well, it is a very good step forward, because according to the dealings today, the president said, I don't need that yash. So obviously it will be cancelled. Because one thing is that when they are presenting the budget, they will say the president wants to submit the budget. Of course, there are committees that have to sit on the budget to prepare the budget. It's coming from every departmental heads from the ministries. Okay, prepare your budget. What do you need in your ministry? What do you want in your ministry? What's the requirement in your ministry? But we thank God that our leaders today have been able to identify that education is very essential. That instead of you putting such amount of money on a yash for the president, the House of Representatives have decided that let us add this money to our Nigerian Student Educational Fund, and it's a right thing. If they have funds to access for education, educationally the country will grow. That is, our educational system will be modified. It's a very good thing that what the house is doing, but they won't be able to tell us that because the president has said I don't need that yash. So that means initially those who prepare the budget, this is what they do. But things are changing now. I don't need this yash. So it's good that the president was coming out to say I don't need this yash. People will say, okay, we are buying the 10 cars for the president. Let me say, I don't need these 10 cars. But did the same thing when he was there, when he proposed budget that this is for the presidency. He said, no, I don't need them. So, as they are focusing on education now, it is a very good thing. It's the right decision on the right path.
Okay, I was going to come to that. Now, speaking about the education and the money that has been allocated to this educational sector, over the years we keep hearing that certain amount has been allocated, and then the people still come back complaining. There will be lecturers still come back complaining about things not going the way it should, and students keep complaining about increments in fees and all of that. So with this money that has been allocated to the student loan, how are we sure that this, because it's one thing to allocate it and it's one thing for it to be implemented and be followed up for, so how sure are we that this money would be used for the purpose at which it was being said, and not just coming to tell us that we now have 10 billion naira being allocated to the student loan and all of that? So what is the process to all of these things, and how are we sure that this would be monitored and be followed up by? Because that's the problem that we have. At the end of the day, we keep coming back to cases where they keep saying students will not access the loan and then the money is not available. So what's your take on this?
Now you see, this thing has happened before in this country. I could remember many years back, if you want to travel out of Nigeria, you have to go to the Nigerian Student Advisory Board. That's I want to study abroad. The Nigerians, the board will advise you. These are the schools you have to attend, and this is the way to secure scholarship for your education. The same thing is going to be applicable now, that they are not just going to give out loan to a student, it will be monitored. And what they do is that they have to wait for your admission letter to come out, and they pay the money. They are not giving the money to you, they are paying the money to the school, because it's a student loan. If the allowance is to fund your education, not in totality. What I mean by not in totality is that they are not funding your feeding allowance or your feeding expenses. They are not funding your housing expenses, but they are funding your educational fund. That means the school fees,
it's strictly for the school,
the books and other things. So there is no way, because the number of students you are giving the loan to will be published, that these are Nigerian students coming from Lagos State that are on scholarship at this institute. And at the end of the day, because it's not a free gift, it's not national cake, it's a money, it's a fund that you have to pay back. How do you pay this money back? The terms will be specified. That maybe you have to work with the Ministry of this, and certain amount of money will be deducted from your salary monthly to be able to pay back the fund. If this policy is in place, many Nigerians, many medical doctors that are running to abroad, for junior pastor, will have to remain, because you are owing the federal government certain amount of money. The government sponsored your educational fee. So thereby, what do you have to do in return? I have to work with the federal government for 15 or 10 years, so that I'll be paying back paying the loan gradually. This is for those people whose parents cannot afford, not for everybody. But if you are greedy and you say, because the loan is there, I want to go there and take loan, you have forgotten that this loan you have to pay back. And when you are working, there will be a sacrifice, because you are paying back the fund. It's a good thing now that it has been the money has been approved by the house. Now we will now waiting for how this policy will be implemented. So we can't be able to send it now. But they say when you get to the river side, you know how to cross to the other side. So when the money has been approved now. Now once they start, they say they're starting by next year. But now in November. Next month in December. By January, they start distributing the loans to the students who have gotten admission to study in Nigerian various universities. But in addition to that, I want them to sit back again and then prepare a very productive educational curriculum for our universities, so that at the end of the day it will be productive oriented. What I mean to say is that when they graduate from any university, maybe you have your bachelor of, because when you say bachelor of science, that means you are studying how to design parts. But when you are saying bachelor of technology behind that engineering, so they have to clarify the curriculum so that you become interesting, that when you finish from the university you become productive. Because giving out money to them is not enough. Also, you have to let them know that this course that you want to embark on now, by the end of the day when you finish the course, you must be productively engaged in building Nigerian society.
Yes, that's true. Okay, so we'll take a look at the second story that we have. This says Naira gains as CBN pays bank $6.7 billion forex backlog. The federal government, through the Central Bank of Nigeria, has commenced payment of outstanding matured FX forward owned to various creditors. The Punch can also report that a source familiar with the development confirmed the payment on Thursday. Meanwhile, unconfirmed source said 3 banks received full payment of debt owed. They owed this, and thank God that the full payment has been made. Okay, so the bank are Citibank, Stanbic IBTC, and Standard Chartered Bank. The amount of overdue forward payment is esteemed at $6.7 billion, according to the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun. Meanwhile, the Naira has risen to 1,120 against the dollar as the foreign exchange market react to news that the Central Bank of Nigeria has begun to clear some of its FX backlog on Thursdays. Okay, so going further, this represents an appropriate of 50 naira or 4.27% compared to the 1,170 naira it traded for on Wednesday. Currency traders, also known as bureaus, Bureau de Change operators who spoke to the Punch stated the naira was recovering well after making a quick recovery from 1,170 naira per dollar in the morning to close trading for 1,120 naira per dollar. Okay, so I think this is, I would say that we are actually making progress to also see that other banks are making their payment. This is actually a good one, but the fact that at the end of the day we still see that the dollar is still, the naira is still increasing is also a shocking one for me. Engineer Ola.
Yeah, because the government is owing a lot of money. Most of the airliners the government is owing the airlines, they can't be able to remit money back to their own country, and many companies like that. It's a good thing that they are paying the money now, and it will be a very good thing if they continue the payment and pay the money back in full. That is one section of the foreign exchange, and that does not really necessarily mean that the dollar will go down. Dollar exchange rate to naira will go down. Many things are involved, debt, then going out again to borrow money. If we have to look inward and see what we can do within ourselves. After all, most of the essential commodities in Nigeria today are produced locally in Nigeria. We have to develop our raw materials because we still depend on foreign exchange. Yes, most of the factories in Nigeria today depends on foreign exchange compared to India, compared to China, compared to other countries in Asia continent. That the first thing you have to build yourself, train yourself and build yourself locally, and you'll be able to produce locally. When we still depend on foreign exchange, naira will not go down. There's no magic about it. When we are not working, if you are not working, you borrow money to eat. Yes. When you are not working, you borrow money to eat. And when you start borrowing money to eat, you are no longer playing football because you are down on the field. You don't. My father would say, you don't borrow money to eat. You don't borrow money to buy clothes. Whatever you wear to any party, when they see you, they know, oh, this man is not working. He has saved to buy this material. But if you go about anytime you need money, you go out and borrow. You cannot be on your own at all. So if you now what are we saying? The dollar is appreciating. How much? How much is the dollar? The dollar that used to be 45 kobo to $1, then has now come to 1,000 plus. And the news is saying the dollar is now appreciating. What kind of appreciation is that?
No, maybe because some banks have been able to pay back.
We'll go back to the same thing we've been saying. When there's insecurity on your farm, you can't go to the farm and you can't produce anything. There will be no food. Even the naira today now, what can you buy with the naira? What is the value of 1,000 naira in Nigeria today? And you buy bread 1,100, 1,200, and the bread is produced locally in Nigeria. Are we saying that okay, our soil cannot grow this wheat? Are we saying that? So we have to look inward. Though what they have done is a good thing, but it's not enough. Pay all their outstanding debt and look inward. If you can fight this insecurity in Nigeria, our food basket will return.
More can be achieved.
More can be achieved. It's a good thing that what they have done is good, but more can be achieved. Thank you for the phrase.
All right, so moving forward, we'll still take a look at the last story that we have from the Punch newspaper, and this says Navy busts crude theft on Lagos vandalized pipeline. The Nigerian Navy ship Beecroft has discovered and altered the shipping of petrol from an oil pipeline at Atlas Cove, Lagos, belonging to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. The commander, NNS Beecroft, Commodore Kolawole Oguntuga, disclosed this in a statement on Thursday by the command spokesperson, Sub LT Happiness Collins. He said the activities of the field thieves were altered on Wednesday. The thieves connected horses and suction bombs, which is also to vandalize part of the pipeline to steal petrol. After altered their activities, the NNPCL was alerted and repairs on the vandalized part of the pipeline have gone underway. Efforts are ongoing to detect and rectify other potentials vulnerability along the pipeline to ensure a comprehensive approach to deter future illegal activities. He said Oguntuga noted that the activities of economy saboteurs posed a significant threat to petroleum product availability and to the nation's economy well-being. Okay, so that's the third story that we have. This is more like becoming a news that we have virtually in a week. We have cases like this. And I think that we also need to thank the Navy for being up and doing in this case. Engineer.
Well, if they have been doing this before now, we will not have a problem with the oil sector in the country. The mainstay of Nigerian economy is the oil sector. And if there's problem with Nigerian oil, there's problem in Nigeria. So what the Navy is doing now is what they are supposed to be doing. But we have to say kudos to them for what they are doing now, but they can still do more. Because when you leave a wreck that is on the pipeline and it's not adequately maintained, what do you expect? People will go there because already people are suffering. And in a society where people are suffering, you have more thieves. So when you arrest them, you put them in jail. You are not stopping these malpractices in the country. But if there's nothing for them to steal, you protect your properties, they will not come again. They will say, that man is a stupid man. So if the government is protecting the pipelines, there will be no illegal there will be no bunkering. But this illegal bunkering is coming because of the laxity on the side of the government. That if something is bad, repair it immediately. But when you leave it on repair for a long period of time, what do you expect? It's like you pour sugar on the floor.
And
ants will come.
Don't come.
But I don't want ants to come to my house. And you have dirt all over the places. They will come. But when your house is tidy, ants will not come. The same thing with the government. If you maintain what you have, your pipelines are maintained. Nobody can come and say, okay, I want to put oil. I want to take away your crude oil. No. But if it's not maintained, it is neglected, they will come. So what Nigerian Navy is doing is part of their job to protect all our pipelines. Before that was this Nigerian civil defense that were doing the job. Maybe they were not doing it effectively. That is why they have changed hands now. We have the Navy. We have the Navy and the security outfit coming from South doing the thing. If they continue like that, we'll be able to save lots of money, because Nigerian wealth are going to the hands of people who are not supposed to have the wealth, but because the government is careless. So I do like the idea that what the Navy is doing now. I just pray that they should continue with this zeal, and they should not relent their effort keeping Nigerian pipeline safe.
All right, on this note, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the story making headlines from the Vanguard newspaper. Please stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire. 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 Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire.
Yes, welcome back from that break. It's still the newspaper review, and now we're taking a look at Vanguard newspaper. And the first story says electricity policy flip-flop threatens $155 million smart meters project. Inconsistency government policies, high annual turnover and cash flow requirements are currently threatening executions of the $155 million phase 2 of Nigeria's National Mass Metering Program NMMP. The project is a World Bank funded 1,250 meters metering scheme targeted at procuring and distributing smart electricity meters to 11 electricity distribution companies, DISCO, in the country. Former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration had intentionally executed the nation's metering program to positively promote indigenous production, deepen local capacity, converse foreign exchange, and create additional 1 million direct jobs and threatened 3 million indirect employment opportunities through the granting of import duty waivers and other incentives targeted to enhancing their operations. But the current phase 2 of the NMMP approved by the Federal Executive Council (FEC) for the supply and installation of the 1,250,000 fully built unit FBUs managed by the Project Implementation Unit PMU of the Transmission Company of Nigeria TCN, and supervised by the Bureau of Public Enterprise BPE, is structured to favor foreign companies more than the 35 local manufacturers of the product in Nigeria. Okay, so looking at this story, would know that there is so much to be done in the electricity sector, and the meters that are being distributed. So, Engineer Ola.
Well, when you say inconsistency in government policy, it will not only affect the metering program, it will affect every affairs of the government, except the policy has to be,
Strictly
must have continuity. It's not that a minister will come today, formulate a policy, another minister will come, formulate another policy. It will not enter anywhere. And again, lack of fund to execute the project. When there's no money, they've been talking about metering program. But how many households have been able to receive the metering? I mean, they receive meters from the project. Maybe only few.
only few.
And now, if you want to get a meter now, you pay over 100,000 naira. If a meter could be installed in your house. So it has to do with the government policy, inconsistency. And when you have inconsistency in the program, there will be no continuity. And when there's no continuity, the program will die naturally. I just hope that, because one thing is this, and we keep on saying this, that how many university of electrical engineering that are available in Nigeria? We should talk about monotechnics, not polytechnics. That is an institution where you can only study one subject. We have College of Automobile Engineering, strictly on automobile engineering. College of Electrical Engineering, strictly on electrical engineering. Those who are going to manufacture transformers will be there. They will learn how to manufacture transformers. This is what they are doing in India. Why don't you break our universities into monotechnics, not polytechnics? Why are we building universities of administration, business admin, accountancy? Why we are not building universities of engineering technologies?
So I think that also needs to be paid attention to.
Now, some people are saying we can manufacture the meter locally. How many pieces can you manufacture in a day? These are the areas we partner with these foreign firms. That, okay, bring meter to this country, give us 10 million meters in a year. In the third year, we want to be building meter in Nigeria with our local raw materials. How do we do this? Should be in the agreement you are signing with your foreign partner, that you are bringing this into the country, and this is what we want to be doing after the first 5 years. That every component that are there in the metering system will be available readily in Nigeria.
There has to be focus.
There has to be focus. There will be continuity. Then we can move on. But not today that, okay, ABZ is bringing meter. Tomorrow, ZZZ is bringing meter. So, day after tomorrow, another one from Yugoslavia. We will get nowhere. So, it goes back to educational system, that from the university, you should learn how to build this meter that we are using all over our homes in Nigeria. We should be able to build it. So when the meter is 40, we'll be able to calibrate it and repair it. But it's not done. So everything falls back to education. Yet our educational system has to be rearranged in such a way that when you leave university, you can't go. You can't go hungry again. The moment you leave university, you learn how to do one thing.
You know that there's something to fall back on.
Yes, that will benefit you. Our professors, when they retire, what do? They still go back to the class because there are no replacements for them. So,
all right. Okay, so away from that story, we'll take a look at the next story that we have still from the Vanguard newspaper, and this says voters intimidation. Bayelsa leaders threaten mass action. Barely a week to the governorship election in Bayelsa State, Leaders of Bayelsa Progressive Forum have vowed to resist any form of intimidation or harassment of voters by security agents, especially the police. They threatened that if nothing urgent was done to address this issue, they would be left with no choice but to lead mass protests against the development. Reacting to an alleged harassment of citizens in Nembe community by the Nigerian Police Force Special Operation Unit, which is the SWAT, ahead of the governorship election, the leaders warned that such moves will be resisted. Coordinators of the forum, Timi Osborne, said this incident are reported to be taking place in the run-up to the forthcoming governorship election slated for the 11th of November 2023 in the state. It is with utmost alarm that we note the increasing incident of alleged police misconduct and abuses targeting the residents of Nembe communities over the past few weeks. Such action not only violates the fundamental rights of our citizens, but also pose severe threats to the peaceful conduct of the upcoming gubernatorial election in Bayelsa State. The forum called on Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun, whose primary responsibility is to maintain law and order in the country, to immediately investigate these allegations and take necessary steps to ensure that SWAT officers operating in Nembe communities adhere to the highest standard of professionalism, and then also respect for human rights. It is also very important that these people take note of all of these things, because if masses are complaining about people who are supposed to be securing us having misconduct here and there, and then the people of Bayelsa are being threatened, already there is fear in the land. What exactly are they expecting them to do? Don't they want them to go out and and vote? And speaking of this election thing, my younger brother was showing me something on, I think, Twitter, which was formerly known, X, which was formerly known as Twitter, that all the hotel in some part of this state has been booked, and then there was chaos everywhere. People are complaining that they are not, and they're asking why exactly is this happening. It's just because the government of that state has booked all of it so that people cannot come in. So already there is so much chaos going on here and there, and the least that the security operations should do is to make sure that they ensure peace and not the other way around. Engineer Ola, what you think?
It's always like this. Anytime an election is coming, it's always like this. What is not general election? The ruling party will try to maintain the position it is holding, and at the same time, the opponent party will try to take over from the ruling party. So there will be lots of argument, chaos, abuse, and so many things. But I think, like what the writer have said, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Egbetokun, should listen to should look at what is going on the ground and find a possible means to curb any unnecessary fight or any unnecessary riots or any unnecessary unexpected circumstances to take place when the election is on. That would be my advice on that. Because people are now like what you have read in the news, that they've occupied all the hotels in the state. They don't want people to come out from other states, to cause trouble in the state. And normally it's always like that. They will load people from other states to come to the state. They are not qualified to vote because they did not register in the state. But some of the indigenous of that particular state will go back home during the registration period. They said that I will be coming home to vote, so they want to return home to vote. But it's always like that. I think the police has to prepare very well for the election to avoid a lot of fatal accidents and troubles.
All right, so still on Vanguard newspaper, the last story that we have from Vanguard says that while Ogun's debt temples will continue rising, Governor Abiodun. Okay, so looking at that, it went further saying that Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State has said the phenomenal strides experienced in the state in the last 4 years under his watch were in fulfillment of his Building Our Future Together agenda and the Isaiah mantra of his government. According to him, the pace of development can only increase. Abiodun made this known during the Egbe Division Town Hall meeting in preparation of the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and the 2024 appropriation bills held at the Cultural Center, Kuto, Abeokuta. Now, going further, the governor also said the governor who was represented by his deputy, Engineer Noimot Salako Oyedele, noted that the policies and programs of the administration were in the best interest of the majority of the citizen. Okay, so irrespective of ethnic, religious, or political inflation of the social status. He said, what you see in our system is a strategic approach towards the formulation and implementation of our policy and program which are geared towards the welfare, wellness, and well-being of our people. Okay, so looking at this story, Engineer Ola, I want you to shed more light on that.
I don't have much to comment on that, Governor. You know, what you see, one thing is an ISO. When you do good, people will see you. When you do bad, people will see you. If you are progressing, people will see you. If you are retrogressing, people will see you. Instead of you to be moving forward, your car is reversing, people will see you. He's claiming that he has done a very good job in Abeokuta. And the citizens are there to judge him. Oh, he has done really well, he has done not really well. But he knows within himself that what he has done. He should be able to measure his merit, with what he has done. And there's a nice so if I do good and people are saying I do bad, I know I've done my best, but time will tell. But if I'm doing badly and people are saying, oh, praising me that guy is good, that man is good, time will tell. That is what I have to say on that. If he has claimed that he has done very well, it's a body chain. He is on his own.
You know, I really don't want to say anything about it because it's just shocking when you are coming out to praise yourself, when people are supposed to praise you for what you do. Your work is supposed to speak for you, not you speaking for yourself. I know there's a place where you have to come out and say, yes, I have done well. But the people whom you are representing should also be able to say that, yes, indeed, this person has done well.
If you go to Alagbole, Alagbole is in Ogun State. When you get to Songo and you take this road, what is the name of this road? It's a popular place that very close to Songo. All those exits, not a single road, not single gutter. Anytime you have heavy rainfall, there will be lots of flood on the road.
You're actually talking about heavy rainfall. Not only when there's heavy rainfall, just the regular rain that falls on a norm, and then people can still go out with their umbrellas. I tell you, if you go towards Alagbole, it's an eyesore. You can't even go out. The road is that bad, is that terrible, and then we have a governor, for crying out loud, and then people cannot say that you have done well. You do half and not even half. You know, a distance between how many kilometers you do one part and leave the other part. Now the road, the other one that was constructed, that was actually made, if everybody are now, those going and those coming are taking that same route. Meanwhile, there is a place for those who are also coming to take. But because they only fixed one side, before you know, the other place now is becoming, you know, an eyesore already. So what exactly are we talking about? So like Engineer Ola said, there is really nothing to talk about in this story, because if you are doing well, your work will speak for you, and if you are doing wrong, it will also speak for you. But then it is really not a good thing at all. So lastly, let's take a look at the Sun newspaper and see what the Sun has to say, please. Okay, so the first story that we have from the Sun says reps bow to pressure, dump 5 billion naira presidential yacht proposal. Okay, I think we've spoken about this, so let's take a look at the second story, because this is also related to the first story that we have. Okay, so this says Mba releases 60 million naira counterpart fund for World Bank's livestock project in Enugu. Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State has approved the immediate release of 60 million counterpart fund for the World Bank assisted livestock productivity and resilience support project in Enugu. The state project coordinator L Press Dr. Ifeanyiwa Najeze disclosed this on Thursday in Enugu. Najeze's expressed delight over what she describes as the governor's innovative and deliberate policy seeking to achieve food sufficiency, balanced diet, and export of agro-light produced for the state. She also equally commended Mba's determination to grow the state's economy from US $4.4 billion dollar to $30 billion dollar, eradicate poverty, scale up agro-allied activities, and engage women and youth in the livestock value chain. She also said that the 6-year project, which commenced in 2022, will not only be domesticated in the state, but would continue to receive attention and support for the governor. This, the coordinator said, would ensure that the vision and mission of the administration to turn the economy around, empower the livestock farmers, and create jobs were achieved. So this is what we're talking about, when somebody's coming out and also helping the masses to make sure that everybody is fine, making sure that there's stability in agriculture and way forward. It is actually a good step for me, and I really must commend him on this. Engineer Ola.
Well, it's a very good thing to partner with World Bank for the livestock productivity in the country. Well, 60 million naira coming from the state government, from the state airports, and World Bank is also bringing a certain amount of money, and the work will be done in togetherness. It's a very good thing, but one thing I want to talk about here is that how fully prepared are we for this project? I'm talking about people in the state. What will be the involvement of the people in the state? Because we have seen lots of this. It's a very good step that the governor is taking. He's doing the right thing by partnering with World Bank to do this. But I only advise the governor that he has to supervise this project personally to achieve favorable results. That this project should not fall into the hands of
squanderers.
That they will see the money as their own national cake,
and then lose focus.
But if this project is handled very well, I think at the end of the day
we'll make progress.
We will all laugh.
And then the masses will smile at the end of the day, because that's what matters. If the whole essence of all of this is to make sure that there is stability in food, in agriculture, and then everybody is doing well, which is what exactly is trying to achieve by coming together with the bank to make sure that there is progress and there is way forward. And I really must commend him on that. So, and that is what we're talking about. That is what Ogun State should emulate and do the right thing, and not just keep going, taking us backward when we're supposed to be moving forward. I really do not want to talk much about that story again, because looking back at that story, it's so sad. It's really saddening. All right, on this note, this is where we'll draw the curtain for today's newspaper review on Cactv. Thank you so much for joining us, and yes, make sure you have yourself a wonderful weekend regardless of what is going through. Remember what our quote for the day says, that you should always seek for strength. There is strength in God, and I pray that He will continue to give us the strength that we need to do the right thing at the right time and do it well, because that is the major point of doing anything that we want to do. On this note, I sign out. I remain yours truly, Modert Dominic,
and my name is Ola Oladipo.
And together we say, be
Nigeria,
by
by
Nigeria. Have a blessed weekend.
Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire.